So today, I'm going to show you how to build a kitchen cabinet base. Actually, it might be more than just a kitchen cabinet base. You can build a vanity. Basically, I guess I'm going to show you how to build a box. Hey, I'm Jeff Devlin of Schoolhouse Woodworking. I'm a licensed contractor, woodworker. We named our company Schoolhouse Woodworking many, many years ago because the goal was to teach. Wow, that's nice. It's not always the perfect method, but it's a way that I've learned over the 30 years doing this that I believe sometimes simpler is better. So building a box for a vanity, a kitchen cabinet, anything, it starts with the material that you choose to use to do that. Now, I prefer to use pre-finished plywood because look, you already get that beautiful finish right away, and I don't have to finish it here in our dusty wood shop. So for me, the extra cost for the pre-finished is the way to go. Cabinetry is relatively simple. All the joinery is simple. What I like to do is make what's called a dado. And a dado is nothing more than a groove that goes into the wood, like so. That is a dado joint. And the reason why we love dado joints is because it makes this process so much easier to put together. I like a 3/8 inch dado. That's the depth of the dado. And all that does is that's halfway through the plywood. When I put my plywood pieces together, it locks it in nice and tight, and it actually helps square up the cabinet. Okay, so here's our cabinet. I'm gonna try to actually make sense of this with the drawing so it's a little bit easier for you guys. So with the dados, a standard cabinet of whatever your choice of cabinet is from left to right as far as the width, we've selected 2 feet. So from the end of this style to the end of that style, or the side of the style, it's 2 feet. So when you look at it from the top, hopefully this makes a little more sense, you can see that on this side, if you look at the back, we leave about an 1/8 inch gap from the side of the cabinet here, right here, to the end of the style. So that the reason why we leave that gap is for the ability to attach them. If there's any inconsistency in the floor, you basically always leave that 1/8 inch gap. So that being said, now we've got an 1/8 inch on either side of the cabinet. So let's widen out a little bit there. So now if you look at it from the top, our overall box, so the end of our box on either side is minus an 1/8 inch on this side and an 1/8 inch on that side. So 1/4 of an inch. So our exterior dimension of our box, which is what we're building, is going to be 23 3/4 inches. So it's 24 inches minus the 1/8 and an 1/8, so it's 23 3/4 inches, or in SketchUp, it's basically saying it's 1 foot 11 3/4 inches, which is 23 3/4. Now what we want to figure out is the width of this shelf or this top piece. Oh, I got an email, sorry. Or that top piece. So basically what we want to do is we have a 3/8 inch dado over here, right? So this is 3/4 of an inch from here to here, and we are cutting a 3/8 inch dado. So basically what we're doing is we're taking that overall length, right, which is the 23 3/4, and we are then subtracting 3/8 and 3/8. So you're subtracting because you're making it 3/8 shorter on this side and 3/8 shorter on that side. So therefore, the 23 3/4 minus the 3/8 and 3/8, which is 3/4, works out to be 23 inches for this middle piece. So the equation that you want to use when building a cabinet with 3/8 inch dados, deep dados, is whatever the width of the cabinet is, we'll call it X, right? And then you're going to subtract 1 inch. So our 24 inches, which is right here, our 24 inches going across minus 1 inch gives us 23, which is our total for our interior pieces that are our top shelf and our bottom shelves that get nestled in that dado. Now I'm going to take this pre-finished plywood and throw it through the table saw and start my cuts. So when you're cutting plywood, you have to have the right blade to do it. A blade with more teeth is always better. My opinion, I like the Ultimate Plywood and Melamine blade. There's combination blades, But if you don't use the appropriate blade, what happens is that you're gonna get a lot of tear out and it's gonna make your project look like crap, and you don't want that. So I prefer these things, and the reason why, I guess it's habit, but it's also from the experience of running through all the different blades. This one's just it's just a better blade, and I get better performance out of it, so I'm not screwing around. If you're gonna go through and pay all the extra money for the fancier plywood, get the better blade. When you're pushing plywood through a large table saw like this, or any table saw, my focus is right there on the fence, not so much the blade. I'm aware of where the blade is, but I'm pushing over there and I'm watching that gap. I'm not really watching the blade. The only time when I turn my focus to the blade is when my hands get closer. So now you can see it's a nice, clean, straight cut. So these two pieces are the side pieces. Now that I've got it cut to length, now it's width. And those get cut at 23¼ inches. So there are my two side pieces. 1 and 2. So before I cut the bottom shelf, I'm gonna cut the dado so you can see the measurement of what things will actually be. The dado is in the middle of the wood and it normally goes cross grain. When you have something that doesn't have 3 sides to it, like the dado has, this only has 2 sides. It's called a rabbet. So what we're gonna do is rabbet out the back of the plywood on the top and the back to allow for the back panel and the top panel to fit nicely. Now, I just have to move the blade to set it for the height of the dado for the toe kick. And I have this template, so I will lay it on like so, and then I just pop the fence right where I want it, and then I lock it in. Anytime you have the ability to use a jig to set up instead of measuring with your table saw or with your tape measure to see, it just takes time, and this makes the process a lot easier. A little tip when you're doing dados, especially that they're a little further off, you have to apply downward pressure around or above the blade, or the plywood will kind of raise up. Now you can sort of see the parts kind of come together. There's your sides. So there's this one side of the cabinet, and here's the other side. Again, notice it's beautifully finished on the inside already, so I'm halfway done my project for the most part. I've got my dados in the bottom, I've got my rabbets cut at the top, and then on the back side. So now I can cut the bottom shelf and the top shelf. So there's my bottom shelf. So now it's just starting to apply and put all the pieces together. So I'm just gonna throw glue in all of the dados. I use my little brush to kind of smooth it out. The benefit of using the dados, I think, also, is that it keeps things real square. You don't have to go crazy all the time with trying to square it up. You will have to make sure it's square, but you don't have to go crazy time-wise to do that. So I'm gonna start with the bottom shelf. And that should just go right into the dado. It should be snug, but not too snug. Now, what I like to do, just because I try not to move the cabinet around because it's bigger, I will actually just hold it on its side like this, make sure it's flush, and then shoot a staple up underneath. Voila. So now there's only 2 staples in there. I have to go back and put more. Right now what I'm going to do, so these are my top pieces that will support the other sides. And a little glue up here. Doing the same method that I just did before. Holding it, making sure it's flush. The other thing that I've seen a lot of cabinet makers do is shoot it from the top at an angle. Now these are 1.5 inch staples, so you can come down this way and angle it slightly, and then it shouldn't pop out that other side, which it didn't. But then that way it locks it in it both ways. Remember, you're not seeing any of this work. Like, you're not going to see any of it. Because of the way the cabinet's sitting, I don't want to whack the top, so you want to get it underneath the table to support it. I always start up here for some reason. I don't know, it's just habit, I guess. Now I can just nail or staple right down that line. Now remember, for this cabinet, the sides aren't shown, so having the staples there is fine. If you were going to make a cabinet where the sides were shown, what I would say is build an applied panel. So you would build something to go over top of this. So your method for building a cabinet is always the same. Get into a process for how you make them, whatever it is, whether or not it's like mine or your own, pick it. Now, because we cut all of those parts at the same exact time, we know that everything, I didn't change the fence on the table saw to cut different widths. And that's kind of where, and I've seen, and I used to do it this way, where you take a handful of wood and you staple it together after you've used your circular saw to cut it. So they're all slightly inconsistent, just ever so slightly. So therefore, it makes it harder to square up the cabinet overall. This way I just find to be quicker, easier, faster, and a much better finish in the end. So when I lay it down in such a way, see how nice and pretty that went down? And now, because I know the cabinet's square, I can tack it on the back and then the top. How's my staple face? Is my staple face pretty good? Is it weird? Now, you've got yourself a beautifully square box. If you want to check to see whether or not it's square, which I'd strongly recommend, hang it over the edge, take your tape measure, go diagonal, go down to the edge, 41, it looks like 7/8. Normally I don't tell you, so that way I just say that it's perfect, but 41 and 7/8, it's perfect. So there's your carcass, or your box, if you will. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to do the face frame, but not just any face frame, the historic way.